Hi everyone, welcome to Module 2. Excuse me. As you can see, I like doing my videos outside. I don't know why. I'm an outside guy, so I apologize for any low-flying aircraft or any other noises beforehand. Anyway, welcome to Module 2. In Module 1, we looked at really kind of the foundation of everything. We looked at ethics and planning and communication, really the things that you need to establish before moving on as a nonprofit organization. So this is kind of a laddered approach, this class is, and I'm happy for that because it really kind of takes us from step 1 to step 10. Now we're at Module 2. And what we really want to focus on over the next couple weeks with this module are donor relations and some communication aspects, some other communication aspects. Let me give you some facts. Individuals are the biggest fish in the pond, okay? In 2012, I think the information is out there, they gave $212 billion, and that represented 3/4 of all giving. I'm sure there's updated information now, but individuals, individual people are should be our biggest target in terms of fundraising. They also come with the fewest strings attached, much less than foundations or corporations or any other types of giving. So individuals, again, the biggest fish in our pond, we want to pay very, very close attention to individual fundraising. The thing about individuals is that you have to ask them for money. The number one reason that people do not give to your organization is because you didn't ask them. That is a fact. So you have to kind of get rid of this stigma about asking people for money. And it's true, people give with their hearts first. If you can tell a great story, if you can really strike a chord in someone with your mission, you've captured their heart. And once you've captured their heart, more times than not, you've also captured their wallet. That's a harsh way to say that, but you know what I mean. You capture the heart first. People generally give a gift using their head. They look at their finances, see what they need to give you, and kind of go through this in an analytical way. But you've already captured their heart, and that's really your goal. Okay, you really have to kind of grab people. I mentioned earlier, you really have to see yourself as kind of a bridge between an individual's philanthropic goals that everybody has and the organization that you represent. I believe that makes asking for money a bit easier, and it also gives you kind of a strategy to follow. I'm sorry, I looked at my previous videos, and I know that rattling paper around sounds horrible on the microphone, so I'm trying not to do that. Okay, so those are some facts that you really need to look at, but there's three things that you need to really be good at in this field. The first one is asking for money, as I just said. A lot of you will tap dance around the issue, and if I use that as in an evaluation of an assignment that you've done, if I say you're tap dancing, it means that you're dancing all around the asking for money. You really aren't asking me for money, you're tap dancing around the task, okay? And that's what I mean by that. So, more specifically, if in one of your assignments you say something like, won't you consider a donation to our organization? Well, you haven't really asked me for anything, okay? What you need to say, you need to be very specific. You need to say, would you please consider a gift of $1,000 towards our program? Okay, now you've asked me for money, and you've asked me for a specific amount of money. And for our program is a bit vague, but I'm okay with it in this example. But typically you want to be a little more detailed than that. You might want to say, won't you consider a gift of $1,000 for the fee for consultant fees for 2 horticulturists for our program? Something along those lines. So now, not only have you asked me for money, but I know specifically what my money's going towards. Now, sometimes you don't want it specific. You can say, for our program. It really all depends. But you have to ask for money, and you have to ask for a specific amount. If you're vague or you don't ask at all, then you're not going to get anything. That's just a fact. Okay? The second thing you have to be really good at is analyzing your donors. You need to know what the different generations are that give to you. And by that I mean like the Gen X's, the Gen Y's, the baby boomers, the millennials. Who is asking you, or who is responding to your ask for money? This gives you a really good idea of what your database consists of, your donor database. There is a terrific author. Her name is Dr. Judith Nichols, Nichols, and she researches each of these different demographic groups and comes up with information on how they give, how they like to be communicated with, and all of this sort of thing. So I would highly recommend any of her books. The first one that she wrote I think is the best, and it's called Pinpointing Affluence. I would highly recommend that. But again, you have to constantly be massaging and analyzing your donor database so that you know who's in there and you're familiar with the groups that are giving to you. And then finally, you have to be a really good communicator. And this goes back to what I just said. If you're communicating, if you're trying to get, if you're trying to send Facebook things or Vines or memes or whatever to a Korean War veteran, you're probably not going to be very successful. They have different ways that they like to be communicated with. Sometimes it's with paper, sometimes it's with email. It all depends. But this more modern social media, these tools that we use, they're not going to be on that. Some will be, but the vast majority will not be. So you need to know who's in your database, and you need to be a really good communicator with them, communicating with them on their terms. Okay? I'm going to turn my paper over now and not talk while I did it, so you should have been able to hear me just fine. Okay, my best advice as we move into this module, into other modules, is to do your best to be a professional writer. Don't use flowery language. And by that I mean you're talking about this once-in-a-lifetime program or these great creative children we have. You need to get rid of the adjectives. Those tend to annoy people more than impress them. So just be factual, be concise, and be very clear with your writing. If you're real salesy in your writing, it turns people off. It's certainly going to get you a low score in this class. You don't want that, okay? So be a very, very good professional writer. And I'm saying that because here's what you got to do in Module 2. The first thing is a donor relations quiz. All of your board members are going to start whining about why they shouldn't contact people, or, I don't want to raise money. The economy is really bad. Why should people give? You're going to have this reluctant board, okay? And your job is to email them and to tell them why they shouldn't feel like this, and incorporate your reading when you do this. But more importantly, be respectful, be professional, and answer them in a very professional manner. Now, a lot of us, me included, are very good friends with our board members, and we golf, we go out to dinner, we do all of this stuff. I still, to this day, if I'm sending an email or something professional from work, I remain professional. I don't throw in the smiley face, and I don't do the LOL, and I don't, and I don't use a lot of contractions, and I mean, I'm a very professional writer when it comes to work. When I'm not working, that's different. But when I am working, I always remain professional. I highly urge you to do the same. Okay? So in that particular task, make sure when you write to your donors that you're not real familiar with them. You stay professional. You're also going to need to do a prospect map. This is in the second week, I believe. Think hard about the parts of the community that you can go to for support. Okay, think very hard about that, because you're going to have to use that here a bit later. If we ask you for 2 things, give us 2 things. If we ask you for 3 things, give us 3 things. And you'll understand that when you get to the exercise. Then you got to do a pitch, some elevator pitches, meaning you've got a limited time to talk to a person. There's 2 of them. One is informational, and the other is to ask for to solicit, to ask for money. On your informational pitch, you have 150 words to write this. Don't bore me. Okay, that would be your biggest death knell in this task, is to bore me. I don't want to ride in an elevator with you if you're going to throw a bunch of stats at me and just be boring. Tell me something good, man. Really knock my socks off and make me very interested in your organization. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. It's real easy to be boring. It's really easy to be like everybody else. Be creative. Don't be like everybody else. That's what's going to get my attention. Okay, and the same goes for the solicitation. What am I going to give to you with first? My heart. Okay, so your elevator pitch Your solicitation elevator pitch needs to leave my heart on the elevator floor because you just grabbed it and ripped it out of my body and left it there. That's what I want. I want to go, you need to be making me cry, making me drop my jaw in shock and amazement, all of that in order for you to get to my wallet back here. So tell me a story, tell me something, but I need to be shocked when I leave that elevator. That's the only thing that's going to work. So work on that and make sure you give me a good one, okay? So, and the same with the online fundraising campaign. Don't bore me. Work on my heart for any kind of solicitation, but don't use all the salesy, flowery language. Be concise, be professional. You can tell me a very compelling story without being salesy about it. And that's really your challenge. And that would be the challenge of your career and development, is to be a professional writer, but do the things you need to do in order to be effective. Okay? So like any other module, let me know if there's any confusion about anything. I'm very happy to answer an email or get on Skype with you and further explain something. I would rather do that than have you turn in something that is incorrect, because my goal, I'm not a crazy point guy. My goal is that you learn something here and that you pass the class. I don't just take off a bunch of points and not tell you why. Okay, so the goal is to learn. So please let me know if anything's not clear. Great. Thanks everybody. Until the next module, take care.